Welcome to the show, everyone. Today we've got some heavy-hitting news that spans the spiritual, geopolitical, and corporate worlds. Let's dive right in.
Absolutely, there's a lot to unpack today. What's first on our list?
Well, starting off with something that touched many hearts, Pope Francis lies in state at St. Peter's Basilica, following his passing on April 21st. He was 88, and it was a cerebral stroke.
Yep,
Thousands have gathered to pay their respects.
right. It's a significant moment for millions. The fact that his body is lying in state at St. Peter's Basilica really underscores the deep reverence folks had for him. Wouldn't you agree?
Most definitely. And his funeral, set for April 26th, with burial planned at the Basilica of St. Mary Major as per his wishes, really cements his personal legacy. It's like honoring the man in a way only he would have envisioned.
It's such a poignant moment, a mix of personal faith and public mourning.
Moving on to the geopolitical spectrum, we've got tough news from Ukraine. Ceasefire talks in London have completely collapsed over a very controversial U.S. proposal.
Yeah, the US proposed recognizing Crimea as Russian territory, and also they suggested denying Ukraine NATO membership. That's a real shakeup.
Exactly, and Ukraine, not surprisingly, rejected that. Russia, on the other hand, seems quite willing to freeze the conflict if you accept their claim over Crimea. Quite the diplomatic standoff, isn't it?
Indeed. It almost sounds like a chess match where every move could escalate the tensions even further. One miscalculation and, who knows?
For sure. And then there's the South Asian front. India has suspended the Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan following a deadly attack in Kashmir that tragically killed 26 tourists.
Right. That treaty, which has been a cornerstone for managing water resources between the two nations, is now in jeopardy. The attack is a major flashpoint that escalates the tensions even more.
And India is pointing fingers at Pakistan-based militants for the violence. Friction is intensifying, and the region is once again on edge.
Lack of stability there is really concerning. Definitely. And it's a classic case of how conflict in one area can lead to setbacks in crucial diplomatic and resource sharing agreements.
Now, shifting our focus to the Middle East, Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have killed 23 Palestinians, tragically including a child. What a sorrowful development.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
And to make matters worse, a school that was sheltering displaced people got hit, plus humanitarian equipment was destroyed. The blockade is also causing severe issues, like preventing polio vaccinations for over 600,000
Yes,
children.
that's a cascade of humanitarian crises. It's just, how do you even start to address these layers of conflict? The interplay of violence, blockades, and disrupted aid really poses a massive challenge for international humanitarian efforts.
Exactly. It paints a grim picture of a crisis that goes beyond just immediate casualties, affecting long-term health and stability of communities.
I mean, it's hard not to think of it as a domino effect where every decision compounds an already precarious situation.
Most definitely. And last but not least, let's touch on some economic news. Tesla reported a whopping 71% drop in profit.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering. The poor vehicle sales really hit them hard. And then there's the layer of Elon Musk's political involvement stirring things up.
Right.
Musk is now set to reduce his role with the Department of Government Efficiency, aiming to focus solely on Tesla. It's like choosing between two equally demanding worlds.
That's a big pivot. Some might argue that his political forays weren't aligning with his core business, so it makes some sense. But others might see it as a distraction from what Tesla needs most.
Exactly. And here's where I think, respectfully, one could challenge the notion that simplifying his focus would instantly rectify Tesla's challenges. You need a deep dive into market dynamics, technological innovation, and consumer sentiments, not just a reallocation of attention.
Right. And it's almost like saying if you take your foot off one pedal, you'll find new balance. But sometimes the road is just too rough for a single adjustment.
Precisely. It's a multifaceted scenario that demands nuanced action beyond reassigning Musk's priorities.
Absolutely. Nuance is key.
So, to recap, We started with a deeply moving farewell for Pope Francis, felt the tremors of a diplomatic chess match over Crimea and NATO, saw a critical break in Indo-Pak relations with the suspension of a long-standing treaty, witnessed a painful escalation in Gaza with civilian and humanitarian casualties, and finally delved into the financial wobbles of a major tech corporation.
Yep, that's a broad spectrum indeed. Each of these stories holds layers that could fuel debates and further discussions for weeks, if not months.
Yeah, it's like every headline is just a snapshot of a much larger narrative unfolding globally.
Very much so.
And, it really makes you think about the interconnectedness of everything, from the ways nations interact to how a single corporate decision can reflect broader economic trends.
It's fascinating to ponder, isn't it? One minute you're reflecting on historical legacies in a religious context, and the next, you're immersed in the intricacies of geopolitical maneuvers and economic shifts.
Absolutely. And it's like sometimes the news doesn't compartmentalize neatly into one category. The fabric of our world is woven with threads of religion, politics, economics, and human tragedy all mixed together.
Exactly. Speaking of woven threads, did you notice how the proposals and counter-proposals in the Ukraine ceasefire negotiations almost seem like a tug of war?
Oh, for sure. It's like each move is calculated to force an ultimatum. It's a bit like, playing poker where every hand is a bluff or a bold move to checkmate the opponent.
And sometimes those moves risk throwing the game completely out of balance.
Right, and that balance is so critical in maintaining a semblance of order in international relations. Sometimes I wonder, could a middle ground ever be achieved here?
That's a good question. There are experts who believe that a sustainable solution demands more than just transactional compromises. It requires mutual trust, something that seems in short supply at the moment.
Absolutely. It's one of those classic tit-for-tat dilemmas where one misstep could lead to an uncontrollable escalation.
Right.
And on the Tesla front, while some see Musk's political involvement as a distraction, others argue that it brings a unique, albeit controversial, brand identity to the company.
That's true. But then, as you pointed out earlier, oversimplifying the solution to just a matter of focus might miss some deeper operational and market issues.
Yeah, definitely. It's like flipping a switch in a highly complex machine. Sometimes you need an overhaul rather than a quick fix.
Overall, today's stories remind us that while headlines capture attention, the underlying narratives are far more intricate and intertwined than they might first appear.
Absolutely. And it's these layers that offer moments for reflection, debate, and sometimes tough questions about the paths our world is taking.
Indeed.
Thanks for engaging in this exploration with me. There's always more to delve into next time, and we hope you'd stick around as the stories continue to unfold.
Exactly. Until next time, keep questioning